They say the dead keep their own time. I never believed in ghosts or sleep demons or anything paranormal. That was until I started waking up at exactly 2:13 a.m. every night. At first I thought it was just stress, maybe insomnia. But then I started seeing things. And now I'm not sure I'm alone in my own house anymore. What happened next will haunt you. It started subtly, almost too subtly for me to notice. One night I woke up to check the time, 2:13 a.m., glowing dimly on my digital alarm clock. The room was silent. No thunder, no creaking floors. Just silence. I assumed I had to use the bathroom or maybe heard a sound in my sleep. Nothing to worry about. But the next night it happened again. I woke up, eyes darting open like I was being called. And again 2:13 a.m. No sounds, no dreams, just that strange pull. That night I thought it was a coincidence. By the fifth night I wasn't so sure. I lived alone in a small 2-bedroom house I inherited from my grandfather. Old place, creaky floors, drafty windows, but nothing outright creepy. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me. You know that feeling when someone's staring at you and you turn around expecting someone to be there? That's what I felt at 2:13 a.m. every night. A week into the pattern, I began to notice other things. My cat Oliver would bolt out of my bedroom exactly at 2:13. Not a second later. He'd stare at the corner of the room, hiss and run. Always the same corner, the one directly opposite my bed where an old rocking chair sat and used. My grandfather used to sit there. I never moved it. I started leaving the hallway light on, hoping the glow might make me feel less alone. But it didn't help. One night, the light flickered and died the moment I woke up, at 2:13 a.m. of course. That night was the first time I truly panicked. I could feel something in the room with me. I couldn't see it, but the weight of its presence was crushing. The air turned cold. Not like a draft, bone-deep cold. Like winter in the middle of summer. My breath fogged. My skin prickled. I didn't move. I couldn't. It was as if my body knew that if I made a sound, if I even twitched, whatever was watching would know I was awake. It escalated quickly after that. I began recording myself sleeping. Just my phone propped up on a bookshelf. I'd wake up, check the footage, and each night the same thing. Silence, stillness, and then at 2:13 a.m. the audio would crackle. For 10 seconds, white noise. No movement. No shapes. Just that static like a weak radio signal cutting in. On the third night of recording, something changed. At 2:13 the static came, but this time the video flickered. One frame, just one, showed a tall figure in the corner. Blurred. Slouched. Featureless. And then it was gone. The timestamp remained 2:13 and 6 seconds a.m. That night, I dreamed of my grandfather for the first time in years. In the dream, he was sitting in that same old rocking chair looking toward the window. He didn't turn to look at me. He just whispered, "Don't open the door." That was it. I woke up drenched in sweat, heart pounding. But the worst part wasn't the dream. It was that the bedroom door, always closed, was slightly open. I started staying up. For 3 nights, I fought sleep with caffeine and fear. I sat in my room, lights on, music playing softly. I told myself it was all in my head, that I was feeding my own paranoia. But on the 4th night, even while I was wide awake, the clock changed to 2:13 a.m., and the music stopped. Just cut off. No static. No click. Just silence. The hallway light flickered again. And then I heard footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Like boots on wooden floor. They came from the hallway and stopped right outside my bedroom door. I didn't breathe. I didn't move. The doorknob turned once. Click. Then silence. I waited for what felt like forever before I got the courage to rush to the door and open it. No one. But the floor was wet, like something had dragged itself through. I stopped recording. I didn't want to know anymore. I just wanted to sleep. I tried staying with a friend, but the same thing happened there. 2:13 a.m. Always. I tried burning sage. I tried praying. I even contacted a local paranormal investigator. He listened quietly and then asked me one question. Did anyone die at 2:13 a.m. in that house? I said I didn't know. He told me to look into my grandfather's death certificate. I did. He died at 2:13 a.m. in that very bedroom. I thought maybe he was trying to warn me. Or maybe he'd never left. But why the fear? Why the darkness? I went up to the attic the next day, something I'd never done since moving in. Dusty, full of boxes, old books, photographs. I found a journal, my grandfather's. Most of it was illegible. But one entry stood out. The man in the corner comes at 2:13. If I pretend I'm asleep, he doesn't move. But if I open my eyes, he watches. I dropped the book. I backed away terrified. I knew then it wasn't my grandfather. He hadn't been haunting the room. He was being haunted too. That night, I left every light in the house on. I turned the TV volume up. I locked every door. But when I woke up, it was still 2:13 a.m. and the TV was off. The room was cold. I felt the presence before I even opened my eyes. But this time it was closer, breathing, right beside me. I opened my eyes just a crack and saw something standing over my bed. It had no face, and it was reaching for me. I couldn't scream. My voice, my body, frozen beneath the weight of something I couldn't name. My eyes flicked wide open as its hand, gray and skeletal, hovered inches above my face. The thing didn't move like a person. It jerked as if someone were dragging it forward with invisible strings. The room felt warped, twisted, like I was submerged underwater. Its hand dropped, brushing the side of my face. The skin it touched went instantly numb, as if frostbitten. And just as I was about to black out from sheer panic, it vanished. No warning. No sound. Just gone. The clock blinked. 2:14 a.m. I lay in that bed until sunrise, too terrified to even blink. When morning came, the feeling in my cheek returned, along with a deep, aching cold that settled into my bones. I stumbled to the bathroom and stared at my reflection. A faint, bluish handprint marred the side of my face. No bruising. No pain. Just the mark. I didn't go to work. I couldn't. I sat in the living room with all the lights on, watching the door to my bedroom like it might burst open at any moment. I tried calling someone, anyone, but my phone wouldn't turn on. I checked the charger. Nothing wrong. It was as if the battery had been drained completely overnight. I needed help. Not just any help, real help. I drove to the town's library hoping to find something, anything, about 2:13 a.m. or hauntings. I wasn't expecting answers, just a lifeline. There, in the dusty archives, I found something that chilled me more than any ghost story ever could. Back in 1953, a man named Robert Kerr lived in the same house. He'd filed reports with the police about a figure watching him while he slept. Said it came every night at exactly 2:13 a.m. Eventually, he was found dead in his bed. Heart attack, they said. But his autopsy noted something odd. His eyes were open, wide open, and his hands were pressed against his face, like he was trying to claw something away. 3 deaths in the same room. Same time. My grandfather, Robert Kerr, and someone else, unmentioned but hinted at in the notes I found. A woman, unnamed. All passed at 2:13 a.m. I started to wonder, was the house haunted? Or was the time haunted? I returned home before dark, heart pounding in my chest. I locked the bedroom door, covered the rocking chair with an old bedsheet, and sat in the hallway with a baseball bat, determined not to sleep. I thought maybe, just maybe, if I stayed out of that room I'd be safe. But I was wrong. The first sign was the flickering lights. Then the silence. Even the wind outside seemed to vanish. Then came the whispering. At first it was faint, barely audible. But it grew louder. Clear. A voice, raspy, genderless, whispered my name. Over and over. I bolted, running for the front door. Locked. Not by me. I yanked, twisted, slammed into it, but it wouldn't budge. From behind me the whispering stopped. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Coming down the hallway. I turned, bat ready. But there was no one there. Only the sound of a rocking chair. Creaking. Moving. I stepped toward my bedroom door. It was still shut. But from inside I heard something shifting. Dragging. Breathing. I ran. I don't remember making the decision. I don't remember grabbing my car keys. I just remember the cold air hitting me as I finally got that door open and fled into the night. I slept in my car that night, parked 2 streets away. But at 2:13 a.m., my car engine died. The windows fogged, and something tapped on the glass. Once, twice, 3 times. I didn't move. I just waited. And then I heard it, just like before, my name whispered through the thin veil of night. Eli. Over and over, until it stopped. When I woke, it was morning. Sunlight never looked so beautiful. I drove straight to a motel on the edge of town and paid for a week in cash. No one asked why I looked like I hadn't slept in days. That night, I braced myself again. I kept the lights on, the curtains open, the Bible from the drawer placed on my chest like a shield. But at 2:13 a.m., the room changed. The air thickened. The lights dimmed. And the whispering returned. Eli. It was in the motel. It had followed me. Something wasn't tied to the house. It was tied to me. Or maybe it had always been. In the morning, I drove back to the house one last time. I had to understand. I had to know why. Back in the attic, I dug through the boxes again. And I found it. A sealed envelope. No name on it. Inside, a letter in my grandfather's handwriting. If you're reading this, it means he's chosen you too. I don't know what he is. A shadow. A curse. A memory of something ancient. But he comes at 2:13. He always has. He always will. I tried to stop it, but I was too weak. Maybe you'll be stronger. Maybe you'll make it past the 5th night. The 5th night? How many nights had it been? I counted. It would be the 5th night tonight. I stood there, the letter trembling in my hand, and realized something even worse. My grandfather wanted this letter found. He'd known it would happen. And he hadn't stopped it. He couldn't. As the sun dipped below the trees, I felt the cold returning, seeping into the house like fog. I considered running again, but what was the point? He would follow. And 2:13 a.m. would always come. The only way out now was through. So I went back into that bedroom. I took the sheet off the rocking chair, and I sat in it, and I waited. For him. The house was silent. But not the peaceful kind of silence. This was a silence that pressed against your chest, that made your ears ring and your skin crawl. I sat in that rocking chair, knees trembling, hands clenched around the arms so tightly my knuckles turned white. I checked the time. 2:07 a.m. The shadows stretched long across the room, distorting the familiar into the unrecognizable. I stared straight ahead, refusing to blink, afraid I'd miss something. A breath. A flicker. A twitch in the dark. 2:11 a.m. The cold returned. Not just cold, wrong. The kind that felt like it came from deep underground, like it had never touched the sun. The light bulb above flickered. 2:12. My heartbeat matched the ticking of the second hand. Then, everything stopped. No ticking. No buzzing. No hum from the refrigerator down the hall. Just nothing. And then, exactly at 2:13 a.m., the mirror across the room began to fog. Not from heat, but from breath. A handprint appeared, palm first, then 5 elongated fingers pressing into the glass from the inside. I didn't move. I couldn't. My eyes stung from staying open, but I didn't dare close them. From the corner of the room came the sound of something dragging, soft and slow like bare feet across carpet. Then came the breathing. Labored. What? Like something that hadn't drawn air in decades was trying to remember how. A voice rasped. You stayed. It wasn't a question. It was amusement. A presence stepped into view, its form barely visible in the low light. Tall, gaunt, eyes sunken, skin stretched too tightly over bone. It was not fully there. Its edges shimmered like heat waves on pavement. I felt it watching me. But I didn't move. You're different, it whispered, circling the chair. They ran. I swallowed hard. My tongue felt like it had dried out completely. What do you want? The voice creaked. To be seen. I stared straight into its face, or where its face should have been. The features were warped, constantly shifting. I realized with horror that it looked like me. Bits of me. My jaw. My eyes. My expression from the moment I saw it that first night. It was mimicking me. You came to this house. You let it in, it said. You fed it. I didn't feed anything, I whispered. You remembered. You looked. You invited. Suddenly, the rocking chair jolted, slamming backward with tremendous force. My head hit the wall. Dazed, I scrambled out of the chair and ran to the hallway. The house warped around me, doorways shifted, floors groaned, lights flickered wildly. I reached the front door, but the moment I touched the knob, the entire wall cracked open, not like plaster but like skin splitting. From the breach, black mist poured out, and something inside was trying to claw its way through. I backed away, slipping, crawling on all fours toward the stairs. As I turned, I saw the hallway stretch, becoming longer, impossible, endless. Behind me, that voice murmured again. It's always 2:13 somewhere. I screamed and ran up the stairs. Wrong direction, I know, but it was the only direction that wasn't collapsing in on itself. I bolted into the attic and slammed the door shut behind me. The silence returned. I was shaking uncontrollably. But something had changed. The attic looked different, brighter, untouched by whatever darkness had taken over the rest of the house. And then I saw it. A trunk in the far corner, one I hadn't noticed before. It was carved with strange symbols that made my stomach churn to look at. I opened it slowly. Inside was a notebook. The same one my grandfather had always kept on his desk. Its pages were filled with sketches, of the figure, of the mirror, of the exact moments I had experienced over the last 5 nights. He had seen this, lived this. And at the very end, written in jagged, urgent script. The 5th night is the test. It reveals the source. Don't trust the house. Don't trust time. At 2:13 reality bends. If you see the mirror fog, don't look away. I felt the air shift again. My eyes drifted to the small mirror hanging on the attic wall. It was fogging. I turned about to run, but remembered the words, "Don't look away." So I stood there, staring. The fog thickened. Then something emerged behind the glass. Not a reflection, something trapped. It banged against the inside of the mirror, once, twice, then stopped and smiled. It looked like me. No, not just like me. It was me. But thinner. Pale. Sickly. Hollow. The mouth moved silently at first. Then it whispered, "Let me in." "No," I said. It pounded on the glass. Louder this time. The entire attic vibrated with the impact. "Let me in." "No." Its smile dropped. The eyes narrowed. "If I can't take you, I'll take what you love." It raised its hand, and the mirror shattered. And with that, the power surged back on in the house. The lights brightened. The mist evaporated. The temperature returned to normal. It was 2:14 a.m. It had passed. I stood in the attic, breathless, surrounded by broken glass. I thought maybe I had won. Maybe I had survived the 5th night. But then my phone buzzed for the first time in days. One new voicemail. I pressed play. It was my sister. Her voice shaking. "Eli, please? I don't know what's happening." I woke up at 2:13, and something was watching me. Then silence. Then a wet, rasping breath. Then, what happened next will haunt you. I played the voicemail again. And again. Each time my heart sank lower. Hearing her say my name. Hearing the fear laced into every word. And that final sound, that breath, it wasn't hers. It was his. That thing's. I gripped my phone and stood motionless in the attic, mind racing. She didn't even live near me. Whatever this was, it had reached her. It could spread. My legs moved before my brain could catch up. I bounded down the stairs, nearly slipping on the last few steps. I needed answers. My sister was in danger, and this thing, whatever it was, wasn't confined to the house anymore. I snatched my car keys, but just before stepping outside, I froze. The world outside the window was off. I don't mean it looked unusual. I mean it looked paused. Trees weren't swaying. No wind. No bugs. No movement. Even the street lamp outside didn't flicker. I opened the front door slowly and stepped out into silence. No cars. No hum of crickets. Just nothing. Then I noticed something far more terrifying. The night sky was frozen, like a photo. The stars didn't twinkle. The moon didn't glow. And the digital clock inside my car? 2:13 a.m. I slammed the door shut and stumbled back, gasping. The house had become a trap, but now it had leaked into the world. Or worse, the world outside was just an extension of it. I ran back into the living room and pulled out my grandfather's notebook again, flipping past the warnings and sketches. There had to be something, a clue, a ritual, a way out. And there it was. If the entity crosses into bloodline, it attaches to memory. It spreads through the mind like fire. Stop remembering. Stop the cycle. Destroy the object that anchors it. I racked my brain. What object? What was I holding on to? The house. No, it was a symptom. The mirror? Broken. Then it clicked. The rocking chair. That damn chair that had been in the family for generations. The chair I sat in. The chair where I waited. That's when it always appeared. I rushed to the den. There it was, still gently swaying back and forth as if someone had just left it. I didn't hesitate. I poured the leftover gasoline from the garage onto the chair, pulled out a box of matches and struck one. The flame hissed as it met the soaked wood. The fire roared, faster than I expected, like the chair wanted to burn. The room filled with black smoke instantly, and something screamed, not from the fire but from inside the chair. It shrieked inhumanly, a sound of something ancient being torn out. And then, silence. This time not the hollow kind, just the real kind. I opened the front door again. The world had returned. Trees swayed. Wind rustled. Far in the distance, a dog barked. I sprinted to my car, the engine roared to life, and I sped through the streets like a man possessed, heading toward my sister's apartment on the other side of town. It was nearly 3 a.m. by the time I got there. I banged on her door, heart pounding. No answer. I tried the knob. It was unlocked. I stepped inside slowly. I called out. "Emily, are you here?" Silence. The place looked normal. Nothing broken, nothing out of place. Except her bedroom light was on, and her mirror was fogged. I took a deep breath and walked in. She was standing there, facing the mirror, unmoving. "Emily?" I whispered. She didn't respond. I moved closer and gently placed a hand on her shoulder. She turned. Her face was pale. Her eyes, distant. Like she hadn't slept in days. "It was here," she whispered. "It told me about you." Tears welled in her eyes. I couldn't stop it, Eli. I looked into the mirror. I saw it. My stomach dropped. "You saw it?" She nodded. And then her expression changed, twisted, warped into something not hers. "I let it in, Eli," she whispered, grinning with my smile. "Now it's your turn to let go." The lights exploded. The mirror cracked down the middle. A long shadow stretched across the room. And the voice returned. From the walls. From the air. From inside her. 213 never ends until someone breaks. Emily stood in front of me, her lips still curled in that grotesque smile. But her eyes, they weren't hers. They flickered constantly as if fighting to stay in place, glitching between recognition and void. I stepped back slowly. If you can hear me, fight it," I whispered. "You're stronger than this." The lights buzzed overhead, the floor groaned under us, and that damn clock on her dresser blinked relentlessly. 2:13 a.m. No matter where I went, no matter what I burned or destroyed, the time always pulled me back in. And now, it had her. Suddenly she screamed, not a normal scream. It was layered. Hers, and something else underneath. Something hungry. Her back arched unnaturally, limbs twitching like a puppet's, and then she collapsed. I rushed forward to catch her, but just before I touched her, she sat bolt upright. "The cycle doesn't break," she rasped. "It evolves." I froze. Her eyes met mine, and in them I saw the truth. The entity never left. It just hid, waited, adapted. It had seen me try to fight it. It had seen me burn the chair. It had learned. And now, it had taken her as the new anchor. I did the only thing I could. I grabbed her wrists, held her trembling form tight, and whispered, "I'm here. You're not alone." She fought. She screamed. She begged me to let go. But I remembered my grandfather's notes. The curse spread through isolation, through fear, through the mind unraveling alone in the dark. Connection. That's what it couldn't understand. That's what it hated. So I stayed. I held her, even as her body contorted and shrieked. Even as the shadows in the room grew longer. Even as the mirror in the corner cracked, piece by piece. And then, silence. Not the hollow, creeping kind. Real silence. Followed by a long, gasping breath. Hers. Emily collapsed into my arms. Her eyes fluttered, and when she opened them, I saw her again. Just her. No glitch. No static. She looked at me confused, then burst into tears. "It's gone," she whispered. "Eli, it's gone." I nodded, though I wasn't sure I believed it. Because when I looked at the mirror again, I saw something new. A new time. 2:14 a.m. The first time it had ever changed. Days passed. Emily moved in with me for a while. We got rid of every mirror, every clock. We stopped checking the time altogether. We slept with the lights on. We didn't talk about it much, not because we forgot, but because we couldn't. It felt like saying its name gave it weight again. But then, last night, Emily said something that chilled me to my core. "I had a dream," she whispered. I didn't respond. She looked at me with wide, tired eyes. I was back in the mirror, but this time, you were on the other side. I laughed it off, told her it was just her mind recovering. But now, as I sit here typing this, I feel the air shift around me. A cold breeze drifts across my neck. And I glance over at the microwave, not realizing the power came back an hour ago. The time? 2:13 a.m. The reflection in the black microwave door flickers. It's not me. It never was. What happened next will haunt you too.